Hi there. Good evening, everybody. It is July the 8th. We are online for our fifth class tonight from 7 to 9 p.m. I will be posting this video, obviously, is within the lesson notes, as well as all the other videos are still available for you. If you run into trouble, you can always go back and review those as well. So tonight, we are going to talk about a few things. First being that assignment 3 is due tonight. Okay, so this is the opportunity for you to ask any questions you have with regard to assignment 3 because it's due today. And I've noticed that everybody probably, I still need a couple of assignment 2s in, and I need a good chunk of assignment 3s in still. So I'm really hoping that you guys are able to work on those tonight. Ask any questions that you still may have, and work towards finishing it tonight and getting it in by the due date. What I'm also going to talk to you about tonight is lesson 7 in Moodle. Okay, I'm just going to click on the right-hand side of the screen so we can see everything. You're going to have all of your new July 8th links to the discussion boards are going to be available for you tonight by class time, as is assignment 4, which relates to the current lesson. And if we go and scroll down to preparing financial statements, module 7, that's what we're going to be working on tonight. And this deals with chapter 11, or sorry, my mistake, chapter 13 of the textbook. Okay, so chapter 13 is interim profit and loss. So that's the new concept that's being discussed tonight. And that's part of assignment 4 and this week's lesson. So I just want to remind you that that's what the expectation is, so that when we're going into class face-to-face next week for the whole week in the PAW, that you are at the point where you have submitted and received feedback on assignments 1, 2, and 3. You are bringing to me a completed assignment 4 at the beginning of that week. If you want to submit it sooner, fantastic. But that would be the latest that I would be expecting it, that you're coming into class on Monday with it done, with any final questions that need to be done so that you can submit it to me for marking. Because the pace that I'd like to keep next week will be fairly quick. So I mean, that might sound difficult that we're going to make it fast-paced, but it's also going to mean that you guys are going to come for that week, you're going to work really hard, and you're going to leave knowing that you've basically wrapped up the class. And that would be the intention. And if you look on the left-hand side of my screen here, I have that weekly timeline schedule that I distributed at the beginning of this course. The highlighted version is tonight's class, what we're doing. And then below that, week 6, which is next week, the 15th to the 19th, we're basically plugging out an assignment a day or every 2 days. I would love for you guys to be done everything and be submitting to me assignment 8 by the end of next week. But if that isn't reasonable, you could leave the class still needing to submit assignment 8. Assignment 8 is a pretty straightforward, easy assignment. It's just the final wrap-up of the class, and you could easily work on that one on your own. The final deadline of the course, I'll scroll up a bit, is July 26th. That's when I have to have your marks done. So you can see that I have set the deadline for the final submission to be July 24th. But again, ideally, we're getting that done on the 19th in class. So you can see what's expected next week. If you somehow don't submit assignment 2 and 3 to me and you haven't finished assignment 4 and you're coming into class next week, it's going to be tough for you to get finished on time. So in order for us to maximize our time together, I need for you guys to get caught up, the ones who have fallen behind, the ones who have kept the schedule. Thank you very much. You make my life super easy. And you know what? If you are working really hard and you just haven't gotten it done and you need extra help, please reach out to me. I'm happy to help you all week long and through the weekend. I'm back from holidays. I'm pretty much caught up on all of my marking on Saturday and Sunday. If you are watching this video and you still have an outstanding item with me that I haven't gotten back to you on, please ask again because I might have missed it. So for now, I'm thinking that I'm totally caught up on marking. I have answered all of the messages that I've received. So if I'm incorrect, please let me know and I will answer your questions. I will get back to you as fast as possible this week because I don't want to stand in your way of getting your work done fast. So if you email me, I should be getting back to you same day or the next day at the latest. You will not be waiting 2 or 3 days to get an answer from me this week and of course next week, because it's crunch time now and I want to be able to support you as best I can. So thank you for bearing with me while I was away for 2 weeks. I had a fantastic trip and now I'm back and ready to work. So like I said, please reach out to me, email me, call me if you need to, come online tonight with discussion questions. It's been pretty quiet in the discussion boards, but so if you have questions, please post them there, because then everyone's going to be able to participate in the conversation. And that's a good way for everybody to learn, is if we're seeing what other questions other students might have, you'd find that you are not alone. There's a lot of people in the same boat as you. So if you think you're struggling alone, you're not. Okay, so just let me know what you need. Reach out to me. I will help you as best I can. Okay, so that's my plug for the assignment 4 and what we're going to do next week together. So again, if you need clarification, please ask. Okay, so tonight I want to, dang it. Sorry guys, I'm coming back. I just closed my computer for a second accidentally. Okay, one other thing I want to mention is what I'm seeing for people who are submitting assignment 3 or submitting to me their general journal saying, hey, can you take a look at this? I need some help. Let's just go back to that question of remittances. Okay, so this is one of the new concepts in assignment 3 is remittances, right? So each payroll, we are deducting federal tax, provincial tax, CPP and EI, plus CPP and EI from the employer, right? Their portion of it. And that accumulates in the liability accounts numbered 212, 213, 214, and 215. So each 2 weeks, we take money off of people's paycheck, we hold on to it with the intention of sending it to Revenue Canada. Revenue Canada says you have to submit January's withholding amounts by the middle of February. So February 14th is the entry date. So really all we need to do is look at the end of February, or sorry, the end of January. So the end of assignment 2, we prepared a trial balance, which was our numbers at the end of January. So what was our account balance in account 213, 214, 212, 213, 214, and 215? The 4 liability accounts. Whatever the balances were in the credit column there, that pertains to January payroll. Take those amounts, prepare a journal entry by debiting account 212, debiting account 213, debiting account 214, and debiting account 215 for the balances on the trial balance. Those 4 debits, the offset credit entry is to the bank. We are taking the money out of our bank account and sending it to Revenue Canada. So we're going to credit Bank 101. And just for proof, I'm going to tell you the number for the February 14th remittance for January deductions, $2,572.92. Then I'm going to mention that on March 14th, when we're remitting for February's deductions, remember 2 pay periods in February. So essentially, the dollar value of each of our line items will be double. Again, you'll prove that number by looking at the February trial balance and what's sitting in those accounts. Okay, so the money goes into the payable accounts, and then it gets paid out. And it goes in and it gets paid out month by month. Okay, April, same thing. We're remitting for March, 2 pay periods in March. So I just wanted to mention that in case anyone was struggling with it. The other item was the bad debt. I've had a couple questions about that, and I'm just in chapter 12. Sorry, I just said this. So in chapter 12, it talks about all of the information about bad debts. So on March 28th, when we have identified a potentially uncollectible account, the journal entry is going to look something like the top of page 220, right? Debit bad debt expense, credit allowance for doubtful accounts. Ignore the taxes in the textbook example because we don't have taxes on our service, okay? Then at the end of April in the assignment, it says, okay, we no longer have identified it. We say, yeah, it's never going to get collected. We're writing it off our books. So that secondary journal entry that occurs at the end of April in our assignment will look a lot like the journal entry at the top of page 221 of your textbook, okay? So we've already recorded the bad debt expense at the end of March. That's going to stand. So it's still bad debt, right? But what we don't want is for it to be sitting on the balance sheet as a receivable and an allowance for doubtful accounts. So we're just going to remove that from our balance sheet and say this, we no longer think it's doubtful, so we're going to debit account 107, allowance for doubtful accounts. Now that account has a zero balance, and we're going to now take the step necessary to reduce our receivables. Not just subtract away an allowance to get a net receivable that's lower, but just say, let's keep it clean. Let's just reduce our accounts receivable. And so the offsetting second line of that April journal entry is a credit to accounts receivable. So accounts receivable is an asset. It begins with number 1. It is a normal debit balance. By crediting it here, we are reducing it. And so essentially the net receivable is exactly the same, but we now don't only present it on one line instead of two, like we saw in March. Okay, so that is my extra commentary on assignment 3 for anyone who's still working on it. I'm now going to move on and talk about the lessons. So, and I have assignment 4 is available on Moodle now for you. You'll see it now. I'm just releasing them one at a time. By the time we're together in class next week, every single assignment will be available. So again, next week, if you are ahead of the game and you want to work faster, you know, I'm not going to stop you. We're going to try and keep pace together, but yeah, it's really up to you. Okay, so then when we get to assignment 4, you're going to notice, and actually I'm going to get rid of this on the left-hand side. I'm going to pull that assignment question up. Give me 1 second. Assignment 3. Actually, bear with me. I'll just click on that. That will be quicker. Open. Okay, so I'm going to push this over to the left-hand side of my screen for you guys to see what I'm seeing. When you open up the assignment in Moodle, this is what you're going to see. So it really looks a lot like what we've seen in assignment 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I know assignment 3 was a huge amount of volume. That's why it was good that you had 2 weeks to work on it. Assignment 4 still got quite a bit of volume. We're doing 2 months worth, May and June. However, it's very repetitive. I mean, it's payroll, it's buying supplies, it's charging, billing the parents and guardians for fees and collecting fees. Not much else. So you'll see, so I've just quickly on the left-hand side scrolled through the May journal entries. Now I'm scrolling through the June transactions. So you're, like I said, supplies, receiving payment on account. There's some fundraising that we're depositing. We're paying our employees, we're billing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So then the new stuff here is after the general journal, the general ledger, our 2 trial balances. So this should really, I mean, other than it's going to take a bit of time because it's quite a lot of content, shouldn't really tie you up with new unfamiliar concepts. Now we get to here. So you see on the left-hand side, I just had May trial balance. I'm going to prepare that. Then we're going to have a June trial balance. Now I'm saying to you, and this is what you'll learn when you read chapter 13, is I want you to prepare a financial statement. Okay, an interim statement of profit. So there's 2 types of financial statements. There's an income statement or a statement of profit, and there's a balance sheet. So we're not doing the balance sheet yet. We're just doing this one extra statement. And I'm gonna show you textbook, chapter 13. So you're gonna read through chapter 13 and you're gonna see, so it's on page 233, essentially is what we're doing here, okay? Let me see if I like actually, sorry, 234. I like this format on page 234 of the textbook because it shows that there is a section for revenue, and then it's totaled up, and there's a section for expenses, and then it's totaled up, and the revenue minus expenses is our profit, okay? So what I want to show you here is that revenue is the accounts that begin with 4. Okay, so if you go back up here to your trial balance, you're going to have an entire list of accounts. You're going to start with account 101 all the way to 535 or whatever the last number is. And that's all of the accounts. So that's assets, liabilities, equity, revenue, and expenses. So basically just draw a line here. Give me a minute. So you've got your assets, your 1 account numbers, your liabilities that begin with 2, your equity. If you have equity yet, this is a new company, so we haven't closed anything off. Revenue are accounts that begin in 4, and expenses are accounts that begin in 5. Okay, and then there'll be all these numbers here. So essentially, just draw a line through here, right? So these total up, right? Because it's still at trial balance. But then you'll notice that the title of this doesn't have the word balance in it at all. It's a statement of profit. So we're going to take all of the revenue. Bear with me here. All of our revenue, we're going to have account 401, 403, 406, 410, I think, right? That's our fees, our operating grant, our other grant, and our fundraising. I think that's it. And then we're going to total it up. Total. Obviously, it's going to look a lot nicer than this because you're going to have the account titles and all of the amounts are going to be listed, and then we're going to have a total. Then, sorry, I'm going to get rid of my face there for a minute on the left, and I'm going to tilt my screen. Then we have expenses. 501 salaries all the way to 532, 535, whatever that number is, and all the expenses. And then we're going to have total expenses. And this is total revenue. And then total revenue minus total expenses equals interim profit. So take this number here minus this number here equals. And that'll tell you if you are profitable, if you have made more money than you have expenses. This is the new concept of this chapter. Okay, again, use 234, page 234 of the textbook as a reference. There's obviously more types of accounts in this statement, but the account titles are different because it's more of a manufacturing environment, whereas we're services, right? We don't have inventory per se. We don't offer sales discounts per se. So, I mean, the look and the flow and the format of the statement will be similar, just the line items will have different titles. So when you're done, if your statement of profit looks like figure 13.2 on page 234, you're in good shape. Okay, that's it. That is the assignment, and that is the lesson. So that is the new concept. We are now saying, and what this purpose of this statement is it's to, let's say, in a normal business, a corporation or something like that, you've got several divisions. What you're doing is, and let's say there's shareholders or there's a board of directors, and just like a daycare has a board of directors, they don't want to go and look at the general journal, they don't want to look at the general ledger, but they want to have a sense of how's your business doing? How's the daycare doing? Are we okay? For cash flow purposes, are we okay? Profitability, are we operating at a loss? Are we in trouble here? So this statement would be something that your director would take to the board meetings for your center and present. Just this page, right? Statement of profit, and later on a balance sheet would likely be a second form that the board would be liking to see. But for now, this is what we're doing, and this is why we're doing it. Another reason financial statements are important is, like I said, the stakeholders, the board, the parents, anyone. You take this to an AGM, you would have a finalized audited statement. So a little bit more to it than this, which is what you'll see by the end of assignment 6. But for now, also, let's say you needed a loan. Let's say you had a business and you needed a loan, or maybe you want, maybe your daycare needs a little bit of cash flow and you're looking for financing. Your bank would ask for this stuff. So you need to be able to prepare it. So there's another reason why you would prepare statements like this. Okay. So now, like I said, that's the new concept of assignment 4. That should get you to where you need to be. I'd like you to work on that this week. Ask me any questions you need. I am happy to help. And don't feel like you're bugging me. I've had lots of people say, I'm sorry to bother you so much, and sorry I have more questions. That doesn't matter. Like, my whole point is that you guys are getting the help you need, so that when you're working on it on your own like this, that you are getting the help you need, and that you're in the best possible shape going into class next week. So I'd rather you ask 100 questions this week and be caught up for next week than to come into class next week and be behind 2 assignments. If that makes sense, I hope that is reasonable. I think it is, and that's going to make my work time and your time as productive as possible next week. Okay, so that you get the most out of it. And that really is about it for me. Let me just do a quick scan of my notes. Yeah. Okay, so tonight's class, this is it for the video. And like I said, read chapter 13, work on the practice questions, get caught up on your assignments, and then get working on this assignment 4 so that you have it ready to submit the beginning of next week. Next week, we will go through the next 2 lessons that tie still into this case study. We are going to work on doing an operating budget, which is what centers need to do. That's the big assignment, assignment 7. But because we're doing it together in class, it's going to be good. You don't have to worry about it. And then assignment 8 is just doing it's like a segment of a parent manual. So that just deals with the financial side of things. So when do you expect payments? How much are the payments? How often are you going to bill? What are you going to do if someone pays late? What do you do when people pick up their kids late? Just little things like that. And there's a whole list of all the things you have to cover. So that's the final assignment. And a lot of you who are already working at a center, if you wanted to, you can bring your parent policy manual with you. Bring a hard copy, bring an electronic copy if you want, because I know very well a lot of students just kind of go in and tweak what they're already working with, and you may or may not have to start from scratch, but that's something to think about. And if you have that resource available to you, bring it with you. Okay, and that's about it. I will later on this week post the full schedule for next week, so you may already know what times and dates of the classes, but I will post that up there as a reminder and a resource for you to reference to know exactly what days we're in class and what times we're in class. And then, yeah, I'll have all my lessons ready to go, and we will work through the rest of this class next week. I really look forward to meeting you guys all in person, and yeah, have a great week. Thanks a lot. Bye.